Sweet dreams, little ones. You rest up in your hangar bay, because in the morning you'll wake up to smell fresh laser fire, because you're in a federal Corvette. And there's one thing that a core dynamic ship does well, and that's kill ships. Big ships, small ships, rings of ships. We even have a go at booping asteroids. Enemy shields down! Enemy dead! There's no further targets, Commander! That's all you'll ever have to say in a federal Corvette. Core dynamics! Let's not talk about skimmers.
Hey, why you messing around with those other handheld toys? Do people still look at you
Lave
like you're a little
Radio,
space bed with a
transmitting
ray gun in your pocket?
to every corner of the galaxy.
Galnet News Digest, 23rd of March 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Hudson is out. Salvation is hiding. Show has been found, and there's something huge hiding in the maelstroms. President Hudson won't be standing for re-election in June, having lost the vote on the Hudson contravention this week. This means there will be someone else standing on behalf of the Republican Party, and as not one of them has a portrait, seems hugely unlikely that any of them will win. Ex-pirate Calico Zach Rackham is also expected to stand, but he suffers from the same faceless problem that the rest of the Republicans suffer from. The only illustrated candidate is Liberal Party leader and current shadow president Felicia Winters, who is consequently odds-on favourite to become the new president unless Hudson can find a way to get his name back on the ticket. By the way, isn't it odd how Hudson hasn't aged a day since he became president? His picture continues to look exactly the same as it ever did. This is a sort of reverse Dorian Gray effect. His portrait continues to look as young as ever, while the actual president, whom nobody ever sees, is old and shriveled and walks with a stoop. Seojin A says that Salvation's consciousness has been uploaded into a Guardian computer, where it continues to plot malevolence against the Thargoids without the encumbrance of a 200-year-old body and all the malfunctioning glands that entails. Observant discoverer of supermassive nothingness, Commander Zulu Romeo has noticed that the Pilots Federation is giving away completely free a supercomputer and has put two and two together. Salvation is hiding in that computer, and as soon as the lucky winner plugs it in and installs the Odyssey flight control software, guess what's going to happen? Salvation is going to come popping up out of the machine, taking control of credulous commanders and getting them to collect even more Guardian relics in exchange for some anti-Thargoid toys. And he will bring the galaxy to a swift and conclusive finale, with Thargoids and humanity all being wiped out, unless the lucky winner chooses to download the legacy mode instead. If they do that, we'll all be saved. The Far God cult also wants the universe to end, but they want the Thargoids to win the apocalypse, not Salvation. It's the same end of everything, just achieved in a slightly different way. However, this week, they've been useful, snatching ex-test subject Seojin A from detention at the hands of Azimuth's hired thugs and taking her back to Mama Tesro in Aegis. Seo has been trying to verify her theories about Salvation's consciousness being saved to the SSD of a Pilots Federation supercomputer, but she also has the handy ability to talk to Thargoids. It's hard to imagine what she might want to say to a Thargoid, but she can do it if she wants, and that's bound to come in terribly handy at some point soon. there's exciting news about the thing in the maelstrom. This afternoon's Pilots Federation live stream featured a short video clip in which it transpired that there's something very big and Thargoid-shaped hiding inside the Thargoid maelstrom. I wonder what it could be. In any case, whatever it is, it appears to be able to play atmospheric music, and it likes caustic fog and lightning. In slightly less exciting news, what is probably going to be a massive overhaul of the political and governmental structures of the galaxy has been pushed back to next year, so Power Play and the good old BGS have another 12 months of life in them, which is more than you can say for a lot of the minor factions, even the ones run by commanders, many of which have dwindled away after their founders discovered Call of Duty. Many of them are now as old as poor old Zachary Hudson, the president, not the picture. Some of them are beginning to wonder if the best damn space sim ever, Stellar Citizen, will release this century, or whether they need to stock up more nanomeds and progenitor cells, because as everyone knows, it's going to be worth the wait, just like a journey to Hutton Orbital, only much, much longer. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We invent some vaguely plausible news stories so you don't have to.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sandy Crevice, and I'll be mashing the buttons because I've run out of potatoes.
I'm Wilma Fingerdoo, and I'll be mostly eating sponge.
I'm Wanker, and I'll be drinking anything I find in a bottle under the sink. Oh, domestos!
I'm your Harkness, and I found some raisin drops down near the skirting board.
I'm Norma Snookers, and I'm cross-stitching a lovely 3-course meal. While we're making a meal of things, let's get to the headlines.
News about fake news in the news.
Perturbators are once again in the pink.
Too Hot, Too Messy, Week 33 update.
Tharg, total rotter. It's official.
Atris is in a cheery mood this week.
And the BTS news is, well, not entirely dreadful.
Best this evening, we bring you news. News about fake news. Or maybe it's real. In recent weeks, Galnet has been feeding an article purporting to be from Aegis that we are indeed getting the war all wrong. Instead of bringing the Hackswing to combat zones with big size 12 boots on and issuing a thorough kicking to Tharg the Mighty's mighty minions and his little ones, they've suggested a preventative approach. The kind of approach that would stop Thargoids actually turning up in the first place. In essence, they've suggested that the new Orthrus variant Thargoid can be persuaded not to tell all his, or her, or their buddies that the target system is a juicy one, through percussive means. The Pilots Federation lists these systems as alert systems, and have suggested that floating around in supercruise, you might just be able to find an Orthrus, drop in, get its attention with a well-placed shot or two, dodge the shutdown field and the enormous caustic fart it lets out, lower the uber-powered shield, and deliver a coup de grace in time to prevent it escaping. And that might just be the best way to stop more arriving. Oh, and they've got shooty friends, and they scream for help. A lot. Anyway, if you can do all of that, then Aegis, or is it Aegis, believe humanity will be saved. If you do a lot of it. However, it appears that Aegis, or is it Aegis, might well have been infiltrated by Thargoid agents, as studies indicate the only thing worse than doing that is nothing. It turns out that getting your Thargoid probinator out and carving yourself some tissue samples is eminently more successful, and doesn't require a custom ship and Kevlar underpants, plus the peg on your nose. Are Aegis confused? Or is it Aegis? They're attempting to get us to bark up the wrong bark mound? Are they giving us stuff to do that actually prevents pilots doing the other thing? The Galactic Forums would have you believe, after extensive scientific study, that it's a load of tosh. And for once, we believe them. Oh, didn't we mention, if you do what Aegis says, or is it Aegis, you'll be eroding your Guardian enhanced weapons in no time, causing you to spend loads of cash on repairs, or swap them for expensive AX enhanced weapons. Don't Aegis have shares in those manufacturers?
The Federal Association of Painters and Sculptors, or FAPS, have heralded the news this week that federal warmongering despot Hudson has been prevented from seeking another term in office. With elections on the horizon, they were concerned that their plans to replace the little pictures in every ship with shiny new ones of a new president were being chucked in the bin as totalitarian nutjob Hudson was going the full dictator and declaring himself president for life. Whilst in the Empire, that challenge and the definition of for life would be variable depending on how quickly someone could sneak up behind him with a sharp implement or slip something into his coffee. It was felt that in this case, drastic measures were the only way to ensure that we all had a new portrait to look at later in the year. Whether that came with new gadgets and widgets for people who love to dabble in a bit of power play, nobody knows. But for now, it appears that Hudson's going to be hanging up his jackboots come next election time and handing over to someone else. Various candidates have announced their candidacy already, and we haven't assessed their merits, but can be sure that incisive outlets, including the Galnet News Digest, will be dragging whatever skeletons they can out of the closet for each and every one of them, and attempting to get their hands on any salacious details about their past, or their tax returns, or whether they attended lockdown parties and fibbed about it.
After 33 weeks, Too Hot, Too Messy, the Hutton-led initiative to deliver a Hutton mug and Megagin to all the stations in the galaxy, has reached over 63,000 deliveries. Last week was up on the previous 2 weeks, and average deliveries have remained above 1,700, which is good. No, really it is. One new commander joined the effort this week, increasing the total number to deliver even just one mug, yes, 17 of you, to 284 participants, who represent 93 squadrons. Hutton has the largest contingent, with 77 pilots who have delivered over 30,000 mugs and gin, which incidentally is less than half the total, so thanks go to all the other squadrons taking part. The Buckyball Racing Club are established in second place with over 3,500 muggings, leaving the Winged Hussars in third with almost 2,800. The Paladins are in fourth, the Burpit are in fifth, and the Undead are sixth, concluding the squadrons that have collectively delivered more than 1,000 Hutton mugs and Centauri Megagin. He, who shouldn't be named too often, is still leading the deliveries table with over 8,000 mugs delivered. Some say that he's delivered 1 in 8 of all mugs. Waller81 is second with 7,200 delivers, ahead of Nem in third with over 4,400. Shay Blackwood, yes, we see you in the chat there, is firmly established in fourth place with over 3,400, ahead of Infinite Dreamer in fifth with over 2,300. At last, Talkie Mouse has spun the wheel to add the 8 monks they needed to break the 1,000 barrier to make them the 10th member of the 1,000 Club. Of course, we know all this because it's tracked by the marvel that is the Hutton Helper, and updated live on the Too Hot, Too Messy event page at hot.forthemug.com/hotmess2. Also, the Helper is now fully updated and supports both full Tharg and Tharg Lite versions of the game, so however you play, your Hutton Rares contribution will be recognised automatically. Apart from the mere glory alone, there is an additional incentive in the form of a chance to win a real Hutton mug. Any commander that delivers 10 mugs and gin in the coming week will be entered into next week's draw to win a real Hutton mug. And you in the chat, keep tuning in. Unless, of course, you already have one, in which case you'll already have been immunised against mods. 31 lucky commanders have accomplished this so far, and you can see a little golden mug next to their name in the top commanders table. Last week's winner was DTK7C2, and that's no relation of R2D2 as far as we know. So keep listening for this week's winner to be announced in the banter bit after the news. Yes, you in the chat, keep listening. If you have delivered 10 mugs and gin in a week, in every week since the start 6 months ago, you'd have racked up 330 deliveries next to your commander name, and only 39 commanders have. If you haven't, why not give it a try? In order to join in the fun, you'll need to sign up by downloading the Hutton Helper from hot.forthemug.com/download, and then your mug and gin deliveries will be automatically registered for you by Antares' quasi-sentient, eco-friendly Nexus 6 bionic hamsters.
There was disappointment this week as the Pilots Federation declared that their much heralded bunch of new stuff for pilots had been subject to delays as a result of scurrilous action by Tharg the Mighty and his both mighty and mini minions. Members of the Pilots Federation were eagerly looking forward to stuff without even knowing what it was. Was it the ability to land on, then in, water worlds? Was it gas giant scooping, or a wholesome agreement to do something new with power play, as the two guys and a hamster who actually give a hoot about it were rather bored with it now? Or was it engineering? Or maybe a new ship? Whatever the case, the inability of humanity to fight off the eight-sided green gas-guffing Gennali aliens appears to have put the mockers and the blockers on us getting new things. There is a little hope, as they're expecting that by May this year they'll have some idea as to how we are going to stop the lightning, chucking little thucker launching meanies and dig deeper into the maelstrom, though whether these are cast Unitarian promises, pledges or just aspirations remains to be seen. In the meantime, we have to make do with the daring and daring do of Hackswing and the seemingly very confusing hunt for R2-D2 that has everyone very excited at the moment. For what it's worth, all we know at this stage is that CO, also known by the moniker D2, has A. gone missing, B. sent out a cry for help that included static, C. has hung around some smashed ships, or smashed them, or been on them when they were smashed, and D. That's it. No further news yet. So if you have an idea where to find R2 or D2, or know what pawn to D3 means, or castling, then get in touch with Hanky. However, if you spotted a mysterious person who can talk to Thargoids and has done a runner, then please let us know, as we'd quite like stuff a little sooner. On that note, time for some Hackswing.
Good evening, truckers! Atris 5060 reporting in with the latest updates on the Thargoid War. Humanity has kicked off a lot of Thargoid battle this week, and we need to celebrate. Hackswing has hard at work this past week alongside the Mode Alliance to win over Col 285 sector AF-E B13-5 and Aslate. Quick victories here gave us a good head start in Hezur, which is where we will be starting off this week. Additional targets will be decided after its competition, so keep an eye out for those updates, truckers. But to get back to our headline, what a week it's been for the AX community. 23 systems cleared of Thargoids, and including the 2 that we defended in Kokojo, brings it up to 25. Victories were achieved in B. Sora, Gliese, 3050, Hang, Gamo, Yamahi, Cabrasi, Isla, Hip 20492, Col 285 sector, Win-Z, B14-6, Heidi Sexter IM-L B8-5, Heidi Sexter LN-K B8-13, Ibisu Bormanunus, Keats Weberke, Jow, Hip 2422, Wolf 121, Minowara, Kautsu, Hip 19757, Munchheim, and Hip 29596. This has been the most productive week we've seen since the war started, and definitely a sign that we may have found an effective strategy in containing the Thargoids. Part of this strategy has been the emphasis of collecting Thargoid tissue samples with research limpets and selling them to the rescue ships for systems in a state of the Thargoid alert, which seems to thwart the Thargoids' invasion plans. Additional research is being done to see what else we can do to bolster the defense efforts needed to keep Tharg from getting another win. Hackswing, focus on Hezur to let Tharg know we're not leaving until the job is done. See you on the front lines, truckers. Full mug!
After a few weeks of moderate activity, it's been dull as ditch water in Hutton space this week. 5 systems are getting themselves noticed for being, well, a bit crap, and You Know Where has taken up its rightful place. Avic is back in the news, but not for the reason you think, and in other news, a man's hat blew off in a moderate breeze. More on those stories coming up. Reassuringly, the low system on the poll this week is Barnard's Star, where every single faction apart from Hutton is either bust, in drought, in an election, or in a combination of these. Take your pick. That election is locking up a third of the influence of it. It should be over in a day or two, so pop over to Barnard's Star at the weekend to lift Hutton from its current low of 30%. In the news, but not for the usual reason, is Avic on 34%. Sirius are only a point behind unless we want to star in yet another chapter of the Forever War, boost Hutton's fortunes in this tiniest of systems. Next up is Hutton's most recent conquest, 36 Ophiuchi, on 37%. A war is pending between 3rd and 4th, which will tie up a quarter of the system influence for the next few days. A point higher on 38 is Epsilon Indi, where slow but steady progress is being made to lift the system. A war that started yesterday is tying up a 5th of system influence. A point higher still and finally lifting itself out of the doldrums is Ross 671 on 39. An election has just started between the 2nd and 3rd place factions, locking up a third of the system influence for the next few days. Hutton expanded into Groombridge 34 last week, but it is home to the Equestrian Naval Fleet, where they play water polo or something. How come the horses don't drown? I don't know. Anyway, there's another player faction there also, so Alvin isn't that bothered whether we stay or leave. At the overachieving end of the Hutton systems table, we have only 3 systems above 60%, so the priorities this week are, if you want to truck something, boost Barnard's Star and Avic.
Never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. Loading up the T-9s to the brim with rails. For the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Flossie always seems to crash into the sun. Swivel likes the pilot on the Xbox One. Alvin at the front, you know he leads us well. Trucking across the galaxy, now everybody yell. For the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. For the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug. Now everybody sing the Hutton Trucker song. To go cruising to Hudson. Whoa, no journey too long and no cargo too small. The profit margins never really mattered at all. We're gonna take the cargo where it's needed today. Super cruising all across the Milky Way. We'll take anything, anytime, anywhere. So shout it out loud like you don't even care. For the mug. Yeah, you know just where we're coming from. For the mug.
Hi, Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
darkness of the night. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark, and I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. Heaven was all around. Oh, let's drive together. Let's drive together. Let's drive together. See the tribes bleed. Oh, everyone's a soul on a new path, on a brave line. Feel the engines roll. Let's engage it all. Feel the new ride as we all intertwine. Let's jump together. 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 Let's jump together.
While the team on Dex Island take a well-earned break before their Series 2 return, there's plenty of material to fill the void. Point your auto assistant to your favourite podcast app, including Spotify and Audible, and search The Dex Legacy. There you'll find bonus edition interviews with cast members and with the writer Emily Inkpen. There's also plenty of bonus materials and merch at www.thedexlegacy.com. All proceeds go towards the making of Season 2.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
and the fantastic
Community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 435 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Radio, and joining me in the orange sidewinder bar for this episode, we have the following. We have our Banksy stunt driver, Alec Turner.
Howdy.
We have the usual head of health and safety, Ben Moss-Woodward.
Hi, yeah, things, buttons, stop, I don't know, whatever.
And we also have our staff liaison officer, otherwise known as Psychit.
What?
Yeah, I know, I'm a bit confused by him as well.
What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a bit confused myself. If you wish, you can join us live. We're hanging out in game in open. At the moment, I think Ben is flying around the geese system, pretty much doing what I was doing. We were doing last night, looking for Orthruses.
Yes, I am. I am Orthrus hunting, or at least I will be when I actually take off. I'm currently just enjoying McLeod Dock.
Yeah. So if, because there is only one. Yeah. So if you can join him and help him, because apparently if you wing up, you'll have better luck. But if you can't get to us in game, you can join us in the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, and on the twitch.tv/laveradio. Or if you want, we're also on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. For much longer. Yeah. Okay. So let's go around the team, see what they've been up to. Let's start with Alec.
Oh no.
What?
Sorry, I was desperately scribbling notes, thinking, "What the hell have I been up to?" And never mind. What have I?
You scribble notes about what you've been up to.
Yeah, because I always forget. Anyway, so consequently, having not finished my notes, I don't know. What have I done? What have I done? I'm sure I've done something.
You know what? While you recover your failing
Composure.
memory, but yeah, well, I pop over to Psychit and ask how she's been doing.
Hi.
Psychit.
Hi, pleasure to
Hi.
be here as always. Hello. I have been mostly suffering as per. I'm going through a really bad run of it at the moment, but we're okay. We're dealing. It's all good. What have I been up to? Not a lot out of game. Not a huge amount out of game. Just conserving energy and things like that. But in game, it was my squadron had its second birthday this week.
Oh, nice.
Happy birthday to your squadron.
Yeah, we had our second birthday this week. So what we did is we had a little party on Sunday evening, which was lush.
What's the cake?
No, the cake is a lie. We established that today. We had a little party, but what we ended up doing, because we're a bunch of murder hobos and it's literally what we gravitate towards, is there was a war on in our home system, and all of us piled together and went and fought in a war. I think we had like 7 or 8 aside in the wars, and genuinely, I can't remember, outside of Thargoid combat, I can't remember a time when I had that much fun in game.
Nice.
It was fantastic. Instancing was wonderful and marvelous. Even if we weren't instancing in the station, as soon as we got the front line to go to the base, as soon as we got the front line to go to the base, everyone instanced together. It literally, I'm already looking at dates that I can organize more and do like just grade 1 ones or free fall engineerings and all of that kind of stuff. It was wicked, and I need that to be an actual feature that happens in the game because it was great. Be that some iterants of CQC, but it needs to be more than 4v4, that's for sure. But it was really fun. It was really fun, and I will be doing some more of those. But that's about it. That's about it for me. And I played some Portal today, which was fun.
Yeah, I heard you did very, very well.
Well, very well. I did a good time on the first Portal 1, but I've forgotten all of Portal 2. It's been literal years since I played that game to the full, but it was really fun. It was really,
Did
really
you
fun.
finish 2, Psychic? I had
Yeah,
to
yeah,
drop
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You were close to the end when I had to leave. Cool.
Yeah, it was proper nostalgic and wonderful and beautiful. I forgot how perfect that game is.
Yeah, it really is.
Right. Well, Alec, are you ready to talk?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, then off you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna reverse mine actually. I'm gonna do in game first, just because you'll see why. So in game, I've sort of been bumbling around quite a lot, just trying things with triangles of various flavors. So I made some Grelix, and then I just tried putting different things in the Thargoid machine, and I got a Guardian key from the. Oh, we talked about it last week on the show. I went back to visit the Guardian beacons, which were as you described, bloody cool. Actually, I think they look really good in Odyssey. And so I messed around with those, got some cool screenshots, but nothing nothing to report.
I know.
Yeah, and then out of game, I've actually been. It's old news for a lot of people, I'm sure, but I've been dabbling with ChatGPT. I finally decided, oh, go on then, have my phone number, made myself an account, and started playing with it, and it's pretty impressive, actually. I mean, it proved itself to be an artificial idiot, as people have described AI. Factually, it comes out with some nonsense, which it's quite worrying because you know what Joe Public's like. They are just going to start believing it, and it comes out with absolute bollocks. But you know, in terms of understanding natural language, and it's pretty damn impressive. And I went back to something I saw on the forum. I think Old Duck had mentioned it on the forum, and somebody else had mentioned it. And I started to play with it, and it's got legs, you know. So what it is if people will remember Isinona and his very early Elite Dangerous videos, and he spun a nice story. I've always loved that style of video making, but I've never really had the imagination to give myself that sort of story, you know, to sit down and write, okay, what am I doing? I'm bounty hunting for somebody and I'm chasing this guy. And he always seemed to have a nice narrative to what he was doing. But I'm thinking I might get ChatGPT to do it. So what I did as a little experiment is I told ChatGPT that it was an Elite Dangerous mission giver. I asked, you know, I sort of said, you're independent, you're based in the Lave system. And I sort of got it to keep its instructions fairly terse. And then I asked it to give me a mission. And I haven't actually done it in game yet, but it seemed pretty doable. It started talking about cargo running, and then I asked for specifics, and it asked me to go to Lave Station and pick up some stuff, and it gave me coordinates on a planet in the Lave system to take it to. And then, you know, just playing with it, I reported back to it and said, oh, there was nobody there, and that there was a highway, and it suggested I follow the highway. It was pretty good, and I think I might be able to use it to weave a narrative that I can follow and make videos based on it. So we'll see. That's my next experiment. I'm gonna use ChatGPT as my mission giver and see if I can get it to send me on an adventure.
Yeah. I mean, good luck with that, because yeah, I've been looking at a bit at ChatGPT and myself, and I'm there thinking, yeah, this is going to change a few things from what I've seen. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see about that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm glad you've rediscovered the beacons. They are pretty awesome.
Yeah, really cool location. Highly recommended.
Okay, Ben.
Yeah, well, I've also been playing with ChatGPT, and I've even been using it for work. Although I did find it was very interesting that ChatGPT seems to think that Lave Radio is hosted by Psychic and it was Commander
Chaotic Good.
Yeah.
Hang on, no, that wasn't ChatGPT. That was Bard, wasn't it?
It might be Bard, actually. Yeah,
it was one of them. I can't remember. I loved. I had no idea who the hell Commander Chaotic Good is, but it's just like, I don't care. You know, I am willing for a soul to be sacrificed for Commander Chaotic Good, and for them to replace Alec, Colin, and I and just take over the reins of Lave Radio. It's a great idea.
Hey,
Well,
wait
actually-
a second. Can I not get a break as well? Can we not just give it all to Commander K?
just, give,
Yeah,
just give the whole show to AI.
Well, actually, I asked it. I asked it who was going to win this year's Buckyball Championship, and it gave 5 suggestions, and I was number 1, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. It just came out and said Alec Turner is a possibility, which I thought was hilarious. But then it was sort of, its veracity was rather scuppered by the fact that the other 4 people were people I'd never heard of and definitely hadn't ever done any Buckyball racing.
What I love about it is how definitive it can appear.
It's
Yeah.
so
When it's actually
confident.
speaking complete and utter bollocks.
Yes, I actually told it off today, so you can report a bad answer. So I might as well give away the facts of this. So I work for a London-based company who do the collection management system for the Victoria and Albert Museum. So that's the software they use to catalogue all their objects. So I asked it, I said, ChatGPT, who does the V&A's collection management system? And it, with absolute confidence and certainty, named one of our major competitors and said they'd been doing the system since 1994, which is absolute bollocks. So then I told it, that we did it, and it said, well, I can't really accept that as truth, but And then I asked it again to see if it had taken what I'd said on board, and it gave me the name of one of our other competitors and stated with absolute confidence that they did it. So,
yeah, it's not there yet, but it will improve.
What's
Quite-
the little lad's name? No, Sarah Connor. Is Sarah Connor from the Terminator?
Yes.
Look, I've got to work out the actual particulars of this joke before I tell the joke because I couldn't remember who it was. Suddenly, Sarah Connor turns up and points at you and says, "I've got to kill you before you destroy the world." That's the next thing. It wasn't quite as funny as I hoped it would be because I had to figure out. I didn't know the ins and outs of what our the eventual death of the universe would be. But it turns out it's ChatGPT.
I appreciate what Phoenix Blue's saying in the stream, though, because they're asserting that ChatGPT has to be a man because it can be quite confidently wrong.
I mean, not to be the only woman here and defend men, but I have spoken to a lot of people, a lot of different swathes of gender all across the board who are equally as wrong as each other.
I will agree with you there, actually. Anyway, so apart from doing ChatGPT, last week I was crazy busy with work, and then on the way home from work, I am okay. This is me making assertions that I don't actually have backup to. Some school kids went off and stole the charging case for my headphones. I can't prove that, but they were on the bus, and then they weren't on the bus, and then my headphones weren't on the bus.
Well, your headphone case. You still had your
headphone
phone.
case wasn't on the bus.
Did
So
they
that
go
was
round
bloody
and round?
It has actually, yes. It's picked a bunch of, and this is the second thing I want to have a little rant about actually, because I am a clumsy klutz, I was like, you know what's a really good idea? I'm going to attach a AirTag thing to my headphone case. So over the weekend, it's like, right, I'll go and do that, and my AirTags, the AirTag thingy went about where I work, and within a couple of miles of where I work, in a sort of in various places. I was like, what the hell's going on here? This is all a bit odd, but okay. And I was looking, and then I went back after it had settled down, and I was like, can I connect my phone to it? Can I connect anything to it? Can I find this bloody thing? And could I Ekka's like? So, I'm slightly jaded now by not being able to find things using smart tags. Because it's like, I got this thing because it's like you're meant to be able to throw it, you're meant to be able to send it off to Korea and find it again. And that didn't work so well for me, so that was a bit of a bummer. Game-wise, I was having fun with you looking for Ouroboros last night.
Mhm.
I've been playing. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I mentioned this last night as well, didn't I, Colin? And I just couldn't remember the name of it then.
No, you're still getting this mystery
I still
game.
can't. I've been playing a game by Ubisoft, Watch Dogs. I've been playing Watch Dogs Legion, and I've been enjoying it, despite the fact I can't remember the name. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I'm trying to push through that. And I've been experiencing the pain and disaster that has been the most recent Star Citizen patch. Although I have also had some fun with that, especially with the new soft death system, and also by basically collecting dead NPCs and then using a tractor beam to hang them up around space stations like little Christmas decorations.
You forget to mention that you strip them first. You just like to have naked people
Of course
hanging around.
I strip them first. I want their armor and their weapons and their ammunition and their medical stuff.
This reminds me of the Reavers from Firefly, doesn't it? Or have you got to skin them as well?
No, I don't skin anybody. I mean, it's very much standard RPG mechanic. It's like, you find a corpse, you loot all the good stuff off it, and then you leave it alone. And then I think about this, though, right? So, like, would you really want to get into a dead body's spacesuit, which you've just shot their head off, and yet you're putting this on?
It'd have to be a pretty nice spacesuit, I think.
Yeah,
Must be like a grade 5 or something.
Yeah, but it's also wouldn't it have holes in it?
You'd have thought. It reminds me a bit of The Expanse, where Miller and Holden are walking through one of the space stations after the vomit zombies.
Oh,
and
right.
There's a lovely scene in the books where they're putting on the armor of these crooks turned sort of cops, basically thugs, who have limited personal hygiene, and the description of putting the helmet on and trying not to gag. Although that could have also been from radiation poisoning.
No, they tried not to gag because I think one of them put it on and didn't realise there was still a bit of brain.
Still a bit of brain.
In the inside of the helmet.
They did have extreme radiation poisoning. So
there was that as well.
A bit of B.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's have a quick glance over what I've been doing. I have been addicted to Homeworld Mobile, which is the new mobile game, surprisingly enough, based in the Homeworld universe. They've managed to take a cut-down version of Homeworld, put it into your phone, and also turned it into an MMO. So, yeah, I'm loving the grind on that one. I also reinstalled Batman Arkham City. No, Arkham Knight, because I've never that's the one Batman Arkham game I've never completed. So
is that the one that was absolutely shit? Well, it had a shit PC port.
It's fine now. Yeah, it's fine now.
Yeah, I know there was one because I played the first couple and loved them. And then one got absolutely panned.
Yeah, because there was a 30 FPS frame lock on it, and people weren't happy with it. I don't know why it got
panned. I just know it got absolutely panned. I was like, right, I'm not going to buy that yet then.
No, I waited, as you do with. I've always found you have to wait 6 months, like a Bethesda game. Wait 6 months, then buy it. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I just the fact you're hearing Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill doing Batman and Joker respectively is Batman heaven for me. In Elite Dangerous, well, I've managed to keep my Power Play Commander up to date. And also over the weekend, I went Orthrus hunting for 3 days straight and didn't find one.
Were you doing it on your own, or were you doing it in a group?
I did both. I did, first of all, one on my own. Well, the first 2 hours on my own. And then last night I had Ben and the legendary Circadian, or I call him Circadian. We all went round the Gi system looking for Orthrus or Orthri, and we didn't get one. Although we did drop in on a wonderful Threat 6 AXI ships, which were ambushed by small scouts, and then came about 3 or 4 Cyclopses. But I must admit, I am getting sick of looking for an Orthrus. And if this is the way that we're supposed to stop the Thargoids or slow the Thargoids down, it's heartbreaking. I just want to go off and save things in the invasion systems. I know it's not as effective.
Doing it if you're not enjoying, if you're not having any luck. What's the pop in Gi? 18.57. I don't know. I don't know why I had so much luck then, because I was getting, as soon as we'd killed one, there'd be another one spawn, and I've seen other people have that same thing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was watching your stream with jealousy, with pure jealousy, Zyget. Sort of absolute green with envy, I was. Congratulations. Because, yeah, I must admit, I didn't rage quit, but I was bloody close to it at one point over the weekend. So, yeah, that's been my time in Elite Dangerous. However, Alec, something's turned up in the forums that say that the best way to deal with alert systems is not to kill the Orthrus, it's to do something else.
Yeah, so I mean, there was a hint of this last week actually, and another thread popped up on it today. Basically, tissue sampling the Thargoids that you do find in those systems. So
any Thargoid, not just the Orthrus.
Yeah, apparently. So there's a new thread popped up on the forum today called entitled "All Alerts Cleared at Maelstrom Oya. Tissue samples are the way to go." And then it's a fairly detailed report on good ship builds and tactics for hunting Orthruses in a wing. And basically it's saying, if you get one, try and take it down this way. But if you don't, then intercept Cyclops or Basilisk. And the punchline at the bottom is, according to current knowledge, 20 to 25 interceptor samples bring 1 chevron, which is equivalent to 2% in the alert system progress display.
Wow, so that's quite a lot of samples, but still, it's a heck of a lot better than Orthrus kills.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's, I obviously can't tell who else is in the system, but he's sort of saying that they cleared all the alerts for Oya.
Wow.
I did comment on this on last week's show. It makes no bloody sense to me whatsoever why taking samples from interceptors would put them off invading a system, other than maybe they don't like bits of their body being chipped off.
Nobody likes a probe. No one enjoys being probed. It's going to make them turn away.
Some people
pay good money for that.
Actually, I was literally just about to backtrack that sentence before you started piping up, Ben.
I was counting down until Ben said something about probing.
Actually, Ben's like, actually, I really enjoy being probed. Thank you very much.
I didn't say I did. I just said some people did.
It was just implied in what you said, mate. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe the Thargoids are just scared of needles.
They could be.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't like it. Maybe that's what's turning them.
They don't like it.
They don't like it. I was going to say that. Yeah.
You beat me to it.
There's also a penetration joke in there somewhere, but I can't get it in.
Yeah, you're always trying to slip one in, don't you? Never mind. Yeah, right.
Sometimes you have to really, really thumb it in to make sure it gets in right.
Now, there's nothing I can really comment on that. I think that says more about Psychic than anything else.
Good.
Oh my god! Only with the probes and stuff, just to be on the safe side to make sure. Shut up, Claire.
Well, that'll bring tears to your eyes, right?
I'm being attacked by a human.
Oh, congratulations. Makes a change.
I know. I don't know if AX multi-cannons are any good against humans.
They're all right,
It's
but
doing its
not as
job.
good as. It's not as good
Yeah.
as normal multi-cannons. So, oh yeah, you're up against the chieftain there. I can see.
Yeah.
Good luck. Ah, you'll be fine. Anyway, right. So that's what. My God, it's almost. We've been in half an hour, and we spent half an hour just chatting about our previous week.
We just that's what we do on Lave Radio. We just talk about Elite Dangerous, and we have talked about Elite Dangerous for a fair amount. So I think we're still okay, and we're on track.
Okay, right. Well, let's move on to the development news. Well, we actually had what can only be described as a bit of a shed load. On Thursday, we had the stream, which we'll talk about as well. But before the stream actually happened, Bruce put up a post on the forums explaining some of the giving updates of what's happening with update 15, update 16-ish, and major feature reworks. Well, let's see, update 15 is set to build upon the current narrative and unlock the next major stage of the Thargoid War. So, yep, that sounds good. Update 15 will also be released in May. Now, originally it was aimed towards the end of April, but it's now been moved back to sometime in May. They have said an exact date will be confirmed closer to the time, so it might be May the 31st as far as we're concerned.
Nah, that's a Wednesday. It'll be the 30th.
You reckon it'll be the 30th?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
No, plans for the 30th, released on the 31st. You know.
So yeah, I must admit, I was suspecting this. I don't know why. I just had a gut feeling that it was going to be delayed. It's not delayed long. It's only a month.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Get it right.
Yeah, because it's any delays that have in the last year or so, which they've slowed things down for, has certainly been worth the wait. So, yeah, that's my opinion. Then we got a update about the major feature rework, which didn't seem to go down too well. It seems that the major feature rework, which was mentioned in the road map or pathway or whatever you want to call it last year, it's still being worked on. It's being investigated, and plans will be announced at the end of the year. Now, notice they said plans will be announced, not it will be announced or it will be released. It's plans will be announced. So that says to me that the Thargoid War has taken absolute priority over everything. Yeah. And I think it's yeah.
What surprised me, I'm almost certainly overreacting to this, but Frontier do this. They choose words that just like seem to be so incendiary in terms of interpretation. But they did say it's being investigated, not worked on. I mean, investigated. It's such a. It really sounds like they haven't even started, and many people have told me that's not how software works. And of course, they've started. But honestly, investigated really just sounds like they haven't even just started whatever it was going to be, doesn't it?
Well, I like as let me try and get my words out here. As someone who does a lot of development in this case, investigation is very important when you're doing modifications to existing systems, because you have to work out what the long-term effects are going to be. Now, if it is as the Burrs think, or the Burrs thinks it's 100% power play, because I think they're reading a lot of stuff into it, which we'll probably come to. But if you go and make any change to power play, the knock-on effects through the whole of the game systems and including the BGS as well, that's massive.
Yeah.
And you've got to kind of dig deep to find out what's going to happen. And
No,
so
that's true. That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
yeah, so investigation is not is still development work. It's not actually confirmed and coding yet. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I mean, this was a year ago, this roadmap, and they obviously, you can sort of picture them sitting down a year ago and going, right, we're going to do this, and we'll do this Thargoid War, and then the Thargoid War has just turned into such a sort of epic thing. You can just see them saying, look, let's focus on this. This is great. It's going well. People are loving it. Let's.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I think I part of me thinks that they weren't expecting almost, and I'm not saying it's everyone, but I wasn't expecting that. I'm assuming that they weren't expecting everyone to sort of jump to arms and get involved with the Thargoid War as much as it is. But yeah, I think it's, if they have been working on stuff for God knows how long before, I'm sure when they announced that there was a major rework, they'd already been planning, or maybe in the planning or early dev stages at that point. I don't know how development works. I just play video games for a living. I'm not a smart human being. In where these
You
things
don't have to be a
but-
smart human being to be a developer.
Well, don't need to be a
Yes.
smart human being to do anything at this point. But I don't really understand how development and stuff works. But when the Thargoid War took off as much as it did, anything that they do now is potentially not going to have as much as an impact until we have a better idea of where we are with the Thargoid War.
Personally,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, personally, I think there's no point putting in a big new feature until the Thargoid War is resolved one way or another. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't see the point of them putting in something like a massive power play revamp, because there's too much focus on the Thargoid War. I mean, I know that some people, Commander Turkarov in the chat room says that it's clear that the Thargoid War has priority, but he feels that the rest of the game is suffering.
I personally don't agree with that.
I think it's kind of static, but
I'd say languishing rather than suffering.
But if let's put it into like other context, if there is a real and present danger, not much else is going to go on. People are going to be focused on what the big danger is and what's happening there. While that does feel like the rest of anything else might be a little static. You can still get on with BGS and things along those lines if you're not interested in taking part in the ongoing Thargoid narrative. There are other options available to you, and it ain't just fighting either, as we've had it demonstrated.
Yeah. Alec?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, you sort of covered it really. I was just going to say more or less the same, that the if whatever this feature rework was only sort of maybe even tangentially related to the Thargoid War, it could be something completely independent. It could be a rework on trade or bounty hunting or crime and punishment, or God knows, it could be anything really. Then,
as long as it's not engineering again.
Well, it could be. I mean, after all that feedback, that's a favourite contender, I think, in the community. But whatever it is, it would almost feel a bit out of place, and I think it would get a bit lost. It's a big deal, perhaps, and to drop it in the middle of this, where at the same time we're probably going to get the Maelstrom unlocked and find out what's at the heart of that. People would, I don't know. It would be nice for the people that aren't into the war if it is a reworking of something that's not related to the war. But on the other hand, I think it would just get a bit lost if they released it now.
Okay, so, Ben?
Yeah, I just think it's standard Frontier shoving their foot in their mouth. If they'd phrase it something along the lines of, we've noticed that a lot of people are doing the Thargoid War, and we've scaled that up, but the cost of scaling the Thargoid War up means we're pushing back this update. not everybody, Terakov might have had a bit of a face on, but a lot of people would have been all right with that, and they'd have understood why this update's been pushed back.
Right. Psychic?
I do see why people, if it had been coming in like June or something, I can see why people would think that it would be a power play thing, because we've had all of this signal boosting in Galnet, which I'm sure that you'll get to. There's all lots of pointing to it, but if it was like a power play thing, it doesn't matter who's sort of like changing or in charge or anything like that. It could be any way down the line, because you don't even need to be in charge or anything. Look at Aisling. She's an Instagram princess. She's fine. She doesn't have anything other than Prismos, and you don't need to worry about that. So it makes sense, even if it is something like power play, for them to push it back when it might have more of an impact.
Yeah. Yeah. Commander Turkarov has actually qualified what he said. He's actually talking about the long-standing game bugs, such as basic plotting routes or a couple of things with mining that really needed looking at and haven't been looked at for ages. Which I was kind of hoping that they'd go and put something in it at some point, but. I mean, the CQC fix is supposed to be coming with update 15, which is something to look forward to, hopefully. Right. Well, moving on from the major feature rework, this one is something which, of course, got everybody excited about the power play thing, because player-made factions applications are closing. Brackets for the time being. Now. The exact quote along this is, "The goal is at the heart of our plans for Elite and reflected in the Thargoid War. Our focus is now turning to investigate how upcoming systems will allow every player and player group to have a meaningful impact on the galaxy's landscape." So as soon as everyone said, "Oh, if they're stopping people doing player factions, that means it must be power play," because you wouldn't stop that.
I've seen lots of interpretations. I've seen people saying that this means the bubble's going to burn and there's no point having player factions because they're all going to explode anyway. And other people saying the bubble's already full. I don't
there is
know
that.
how to interpret this.
Yeah.
Fun with me.
Yeah. So, I mean, to say the truth, I don't find this really. Well, obviously, if you put an application in for a player faction, it will get looked at before it closes. But if you want to try and put a new one in, sorry, can't anymore. Ben?
I'm just wondering if there should be a way to identify what player factions are languishing and are just sitting there doing notes. And maybe they should be cleaned up.
Yeah, that was something that a lot of people have been saying.
What's your qualifying for it?
I don't know.
Because I've got a really small my player faction. It's active, but it's really small, and people still fly through the galaxy, and we still do stuff, but it's really small. It's in one system, and that's
so is Lave Radio Network. But
exactly. So does because we're in one faction, because we're in one system, does that make us a faction?
I would say so long as you're monitoring and maintaining your position in that place, no, it doesn't. Then you'd not be counted. But maybe you're in charge of faction A and you've not logged on. You're in faction A. There's only 2 or 3 people and nobody's logged in for a couple of years. Maybe then that faction could be cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, but the only way that you can actually acknowledge that you're part of a player faction is having a squadron which is aligned with that player faction.
Yeah.
So I
have strong feelings about people who wish to adopt player factions, because they're not your bloody player faction. It's a game. It's a faction that's in game and is open for anyone. But that's just personal feelings.
What do you mean by that, Ben? What as in, like...
Well, let's say, for example, I was to find a faction called the Absolutely Uber Party of Lave.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I could think, you know what? That's a great name. I'm going to adopt that.
Right.
No, you put in a player faction.
No!
Because that's what player factions are called. Player factions are identified as a player faction.
In an aura, but not in the game. No one recognised it as a player faction in game. As soon as you fill in a request for a player faction and that gets accepted and put in the game, Frontier can do whatever the fuck they want with it. It's nothing to do with you anymore. You have no control over it. So you may as well just assign yourself to another faction. Squadrons are more important than factions in game.
Oh, I could go with so long as if your squadron is aligned with a player faction, that works for me as well.
What about just like a normal faction, a non-player faction?
Well, if your squadron's aligned with a faction,
okay,
and then if it's a player faction, then if your squadron's aligned with a faction, then and it's a non-player faction, it doesn't really matter. If your squadron's aligned with a player faction and nobody there's logged in, then maybe that player faction could get removed, something like that.
Or just turn the bubble and have everyone start again, and then brand new factions, factions that aren't being worked, factions that aren't being worked at all. Then we have a full establishment as to why they're not being worked.
Yeah, I'm completely and utterly up for burning the bubbles. I think that would be a great idea, and very brave of Frontier to do.
Fucking brave! Don't you dare!
It would be brave.
It's their property. They can do whatever the shit they want.
Yeah, but the pissing and moaning.
I'm so excited at the prospect of salt from that. Yeah, excited. Please do it.
I'd love it. I would absolutely adore it.
Yeah, because you've got to remember. Yeah, well, you've also got to remember that that Ben is a bit of a bug lover, so he'd want them to win.
Oh, obviously. But also, I wouldn't have any issues with people farming the salt either.
Oh man, it'd be amazing. Complain more, please.
Feed me all your salt.
Not if you're a slug. Not a good idea.
Well, slugs are bugs.
Well, moving on from the player-made factions, some bit of good news has happened, because it's been mostly either delays or disappointment over the rework, but the console profile transfer portal is coming back next month, and the good news is, originally they thought after the Thargoid War started, they wouldn't be able to transfer as much as they could in the previous version. They're pleased to say that you will be able to transfer almost as much as you did before. So fleet carriers will come over, but any arcs and stuff you still have to get rid of before you actually transfer your commander over. And I think that's it. There wasn't much difference between the previous portal and the portal that will be up and running next month. So, yeah.
I've actually currently got both posts from Frontier open on my screen, the original console and the new one, looking for differences. There are a few. I was curious. So the new one explicitly says it won't transfer bookmarks, which I don't know if they were transferred before, but I don't think they were mentioned. The new one also says that power affiliation is not included. And what was the other one I noticed that was before? NPC crew. So there are a few. It's not quite as good as the original transfer. There are a couple of things actually. Bookmarks, NPC crew, and power affiliation.
Oh, right.
Transferred.
So does that mean that you lose your ranks and you can't fly your clipper anymore?
Ooh, good question. I don't know. Good one.
Well, that'll be interesting to see. Or it could be just a percentage. You just might have to build up your percentage of friendliness with a superpower again. Which, to tell you, doesn't take long.
Superpower reputation is transferred.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
it looks like power play. It looks like power play stuff isn't.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Like I said, even though the power play, you just join up again, and it doesn't take long to build you up to a point where you can get the stuff anyway, the modules anyway. So, yeah. That's the console profile transfer. That's thumbs up. And also from going on from update 15, live mode will now be the default download. Now, I didn't realize this, but when you actually are a new player and you download Elite Dangerous, what is downloaded is actually Legacy, and you have to separately download Live or Horizons. You have to either download it Horizons or Odyssey on the launcher. That's going to change so that when you first install Elite, it will download either Live Horizons or Odyssey, depending on what you've bought. And if you want to join in with Legacy, you've got to then download that as a separate time.
Quite right too. Can you imagine buying a new game, and if you don't pay attention, the loader installs an old version of the game for you? That'd be...
I can't believe that it had to be like an announcement. That should have been the case from the beginning.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Agreed. It's like, what the hell? I don't understand why.
I've just bought this new game and I hit install and I'm not seeing any of this cool stuff that anyone's talking about. Oh, it's because our default is to install the old one.
It's sort of like it rolls backwards to that. Why are Frontier so nervous about encouraging people to use their current content?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's across the board, isn't it? What we talked about last week about getting on-foot content into CGs. It's like, come on, embrace.
On the other hand, you could go and say, "Tell everyone, come and use all our stuff," and then have nobody able to summon their spaceships like other games.
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's it going forward. Update 15, you'll have live mode as default. One thing that I did want, and this might sound a bit daft, but I would like an option to uninstall Legacy mode, because it's just taking up.
Can we not do that?
I thought you could do that. I'm sure there are folks who only have the live mode installed.
Yeah, but can you do it through the launcher, or do you just have to go in and start deleting files that Can you actually uninstall?
I think I did it just going into Explorer and just deleting maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just. I'm just being told just delete the folder, but I don't trust myself sometimes. I might delete the wrong one.
It's interesting. There is an option. I was just looking in the launcher. There is an option in the options menu to uninstall game, and I wonder if that uninstalls the one that you've got selected at the bottom.
According to my quick Google, that sounds right. I'm going to test it.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, I'm on my laptop. I'll test it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find out.
It's all right. Talk amongst yourselves. It'll be like 20 minutes for it to open Steam anyway.
Right. Well, yeah, you've looked at the console profile in detail there, Alec. I mean, we've covered that. But obviously, Frameshift Live 28 happened last Thursday. Sally and Bruce were joined by the audio team about the music for Elite Dangerous, which was absolutely fascinating from what I heard. But I haven't actually watched it yet. It is on my to-do list. What about you guys, Alec? Did you see the discussion about music?
I did. It was brilliant. I mean, nobody on the planet, I think, will argue that Elite's audio is fantastic, and just to hear two of the guys heavily involved in it, just talking about it, it's audio is a funny one, because particularly when you've got devs trying to describe it, trying to describe sound and music is such a subjective thing, but you get sucked into these two guys just talking about how the mood changes. I think the one thing that was really interesting is I think his name was Jim, the guy that's been there, been in the industry 30 years. And has
Yeah,
done,
that's Jim Croft, the director.
Yeah, so he was talking about doing film music and stuff, and how game music is so different because you don't know what's going to happen next. So it just has to be so dynamic all the time and reactive to, the player can choose to do a U-turn just as you're building to some battle crescendo. So it has to adapt, and it does it so well.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch.
I mean, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite interesting because they're having to be very, very careful about the new music that's coming, because they didn't want to give away any spoilers about what the music might or the sound effects might reflect.
I'm glad it wasn't just me who picked up on that.
Yes,
that's so careful.
Oh yes, we want the new music to invoke mystery and dread, and we thought, yep, okay, so this is going to be Aliens-like then. Fair play. It was a fascinating listen, and I've got to catch up with it.
It was so good. I've watched it like 4 times. It's so good.
Yeah. The other thing that they managed to show was a cinematic tease about Update 15, which kind of implies we're going into the Maelstrom, guys.
No great surprises there, I think.
No, looks like get your breathers ready. We're heading into Thargoid Cloud City. So, I love the fact that that this is going to be the next stage, and I'm beginning to suspect, this is just my personal opinion, that Update 15 will be kind of the halfway point of the Thargoid War, and it might be resolved by Update 16. One way or the other. I don't think Update 16 has got anything to do with the major rework. I think the next 2 updates are going to be the Thargoid War.
Oh yeah, I agree completely.
I mean, originally I thought, oh no, they'll sort out, we'll probably resolve the Thargoid War in Update 15, and the rework will be Update 16. However, having seen and heard what was discussed, I'm there thinking, no, we're going to be heading into the Empire Strikes Back stage yet. Psychic, the video.
Did you not think it looked like it was eating a planet? I thought it looked like it was eating the planet. It looked really cool.
I didn't get that. Did you hear the thing? Did you hear the NPC voices?
It was from the
I know
from the thingy. They then subsequently re-released that little trailer thing. They released it on I say trailer, the pan to a maelstrom eating a planet. It's not eating a planet, but it just looks like it, and it gives me joy to say that out loud. When they pan to it outside of the thingy, it's got that little trailer, and there's no background chatter on it, which is nice for them to have clarified that, so we can actually listen to all of the audio that is there and not present in the fleet carrier.
Oh, I'm looking on the YouTube. I can't seem to find it anywhere. But
they did on Twitter.
I only saw it on Twitter.
Oh, they only put it on Twitter. Right, fair enough.
Secondly, very, very quickly,
Yep.
Can confirm, I just opened the Elite Dangerous launcher. I clicked on the legacy, went to options, and then clicked on uninstall. And I still have the non-legacy available to me to play. So that's the way that you do it.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Right, I take back my request now that I know that's already in there.
Bloody hell. Frontier feature works as expected.
Frontier.
Only if you know where to look.
Yeah, so that covers our mostly clueless section for today.
I should have saved it, man.
Yeah, I know. Right, moving on from the Frameshift Live. Oh, there was the usual Galnet News Roundup as by Paul, and the Discovery Scanner also had some really nice pictures one of which is featured in our images.
Go on. It was unfortunately cropped. Is that what we're? Is this what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, the cropping in the original posting by Sally lets you look at the images binary stars.
Do you mean
Upwards.
tits?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. I just want to let the full misogyny flow. Keep going. Enjoy
No,
it.
but I think Sally refined.
boobs.
Somebody refined to them as binary stars.
But I mean,
And
it
then
was funny, Psychic, because it was literally
yeah.
just a crop straight across.
Good. Tits are great. I love boobs. I'm not going to argue about it.
The great thing is Sally's the one who did it, for what I understand.
Yeah.
And then Sally was telling us to look at their eyes. I was like, we'd love to, but we can't.
It's funny.
Yeah. It is actually,
Yeah.
tits aside, it is an awesome photograph.
Oh, it's a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
It is a genuinely awesome photo.
Yes. It is actually, yeah. Just some unfortunate cropping. Which is
Something
a bit
like
like
that.
Diddley, which is a bit like Diddley Squat Farm. There's a lot of unfortunate cropping happening there. Anyway, there was a few minor complainants about Discovery Scanner. It's going to change. Apparently, it will no longer be classed or assumed as a news outlet to save you all potential frustration. It's going to be going back to the good old days of featured commanders. Now and then we'll celebrate the cool stuff happening in the galaxy, Buckyball, and will be simply posted as is when we have bumper editions. They're going to post full informative, full game development news only, and class it as such when we have no weekly recaps or reassurance posts. So as commanders, it's a strict case of no news is good news in many cases. And she's going to look into factoring progress reports on issues and other notable topics, perhaps into Frameshift Live or bespoke articles when possible to do this. And apparently Sally has been thinking about doing this for a while.
Yeah, I feel like we've been here before. Something where they realised they hadn't got enough content and then just said we're not going to do it on a regular basis anymore.
When they put Frameshift Live to once every fortnight rather than every week.
Yeah.
But
Which still,
it's
that's
literally like just like two or three people just kicking off is what it was in the forums. Like it made me, and some of the language and some of the attitude that they use, like these people really need to work on how tone is conveyed via text, because that ain't it, lads. I'm sorry. Just like back up and be mindful of what you type in.
Yeah, and the worst thing about that is people say, "Oh, it's okay, they're passionate fans," and I just think, no,
No, you're not
that's
passionate. You're not passionate if you're just being an arsehole. I'm sorry. Learn how to be a kind person. It doesn't. I'm not being kind right now. I understand the dichotomy with this, but just think before you say something. Think before you write something out.
Colin, we have an authoress.
Oh, you know what? I wrote a scathing and sweary-filled critique about having to find an authoress as a post. I think I reached about 1,500 words, and then I realised, no, it's not going to help. All one can say is, I find it frustrating. And then just add as many bleeps as long as you.
Oh yeah, that's all you need. But that's all you need to say. Literally, all you need to say. If you were like, I've been doing this for X amount of time, and I haven't found one, and I personally found it really frustrating, especially when I've seen other commanders have better successes. That's all you need to say. Well, I don't want to lord it over you. Even Ben's found one now, but I don't want to lord it over you or anything. But if you feel like you're having to type 1,500 words about something, you're not choosing the right words.
No, I found 1,500 words. It came out very, very easily, but they were mostly very sweary words.
Yeah, they're all the wrong words, aren't they? Let's be honest.
But I didn't post it because, like I said, it wouldn't have got me anywhere, and I would have come across as a complete and utter, one of those aforementioned sweary words. So, yeah, like I said, I was very frustrated. Oh, I can see Benny. This is just unfair. It's unfair. He's chasing.
It's all right. It's going to get away. It's going to get away for sure.
Yeah.
Oh
Got
god,
away.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah.
But yeah, I've been looking. What was it? 4 or 5 hours of game time to try and get that exact same experience, and nothing. Not that I'm jealous.
Colin, it's genuinely beginning to sound like a you problem. I'm not going to lie.
This is a real issue. I'm jealous of Ben now. This is wrong. Yes. Anyway, this might not be the game for you, Colin. Oh, it's definitely the game for me. It's just finding an authoress is not for me. Anyway, moving on before I start with a
Colin, tell us how you really feel.
Well, mostly with fingers and my nervous system. Right. Moving on. In-game events. The Galnet news. What's happened this week? Well, to be honest, not much. There's only really been 2 articles since we did last week's show. On Thursday, So Jinye was rescued, but not by anybody. Not by anybody we were expecting. It was the Far God cult. They popped in. Yeah, I must admit, I was there thinking, well, did the Thargoids rescue her? Because of everybody saying what the aforementioned sweary word. And everybody trying to decode that sweary word was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. What strange code is this? F exclamation mark at K. What could it mean?
Strange code might this be?
Yeah. And people who were actually saying, no, it's got to be this system here because the F means such in base 16. So
Right,
that means
okay.
we go over there. I thought, oh no.
It's always worth looking. It's always worth giving a go. But and like it's okay. It's okay. People get obsessed and people get really interested. But it's fine. She's all right.
Yeah, but that's the kind of passion that I do like about this game. And people do just go, okay, I've got this slight clue. I'm going to go mental trying to work something into it, which is wonderful.
And that's harmless as well. If you're gonna do a good sweep over, because what happens if there is something there and we've missed it? Everybody's missed it before. We had so many people dropping into into the Witch Hunt Discord or messaging me going, what systems? What are the systems that they got kicked out of? Can you just remind me because I want to go and have a look at them again?
Yeah. Commander Tucker was saying, I bet if they were a sweary word, themselves laughing, going, got him. Yeah, just like they got me by doing triangle signals. And there's me wasted time going around all the Guardian stuff. Well, I didn't waste time, I actually quite enjoyed it. So it's not a waste of time, but I didn't find anything. Nothing to do with bloody triangles. But back to the Far God cultists. They have rescued the aforementioned D2. And yes, they're looking after her because she thinks that she is a holy conduit to the Far God himself, herself, itself. Choose whichever you like. So yeah, I must admit.
Thargoids are all women, so herself, I guess.
Yes, they are.
Where does it say that in the Codex?
Well, that came from Michael
Oh.
Brooks. That came from Michael Brooks as they were designing it. But yeah, they're supposed to be. They're all female, apart from one male. That's the one thing you said. That's what I am allowed to tell you. But then again, is it in the Codex?
I don't know.
I thought everybody would be checking. I'd have to do a pause. Well, people check.
Because we talked about the Codex, and I've been playing some bits to myself while because it does text to speech. It's really nice. Actually, it's better than text to speech. I think it's voice acted. It's really good.
It is.
Yeah, and what did it say? I listened to something about the Thargoids just a couple of days ago. It said something about that they can reproduce either sexually or asexually, and asexually produces the scouts and sexually produces something else. I can't remember. There was something quite specific about this stuff, which was fascinating.
I've just been pasted a big hecton because you knew it was coming. Let me read and then I'll paraphrase.
Okay. Yeah, but one of the things that I did when we were shooting Thargoids on Monday night, those of you who have seen the inside of an exploded scout, I went up and had a real good close look at one. And you know how there are certain people who get real phobia or feel sick when they see these odd, weird organic patterns?
Yeah.
It started to trigger mine.
Wow.
I can't remember what the actual name is. It's trigger phobia or something daft like that, which is a fear of weird patterns. And I have the same thing when I come across some of the plants when I'm out plant scanning. There's a whole branch of plants with these weird holes all over them, and I feel a little.
That's trypophobia, I think.
That's the one, trypophobia. And yes, I was getting that while looking at the inside of the Scout. So God knows what it's going to be like if I see the inside of an Interceptor, or even worse, something on the inside of a Maelstrom. I might not be on anybody's team. I might have to walk around with a seat, with a bucket next to my seat, which would be blooming awesome. Anyway, so the Far God cult has rescued D2, and she is at the moment safe and sound, kind of, but I don't think she's left the cultists yet.
No, it literally says on the thing that they gave her. She said, "Well, I'd like to go back to my friends, please," and they went, "Yeah, all right."
They haven't got the letter yet.
They gave her back. I'm pretty sure they have. Let me double check this. I'm literally reading the election manifesto, which is the next article.
Yes. Well, we'll touch on the election manifesto because, yes, the Federation election is beginning to move into full swing. And this time, Winters has announced her election manifesto. Wasn't she the president before, or the vice president before Hudson came along? Oh no, was it Tulsi that had disappeared from the spaceship and then ended up in Alliance space? Oh, it's so many. We need an expert. Say a Witherspoon or a. I'm supposed to be the archivist. I should know this. But the upshot of all this is that she has announced her running for the election and will be working towards it. So, moving on from there. Was this about a legacy CG, Ben? Or whoever put it in the show notes?
Ben's gone quiet. I saw it pop up as well. Can't think where. No, Ben, do you know more details?
Yeah, I can do it. You can do it. I'm trying to escape people at the moment, but whatever.
Go on.
It was noticed on the forums by, I'm assuming, a French player who was playing on Legacy, that there was a CG, and everybody was like, "Huzzah! Is this a bug? Is it a feature? What is going on here?" So I quickly jumped into Legacy mode and was like, "Yeah, I can confirm this." Posted the English version of the CG, and it basically, it seems like Frontier have gone off and said, "Okay, well, during the Thargoid War, for the next, was this like 260 weeks or something ridiculous like that?
5 years, isn't it?
For the next 260 weeks, you can go and shoot Thargoids, and basically you get money for handing in anti-xenobonds, I think it was. But the rewards are kind of rubbish, but it's the duration is interesting.
The rewards are rubbish, but it's okay because it won't complete, Ben. It's got the game will be over by then. I'm really sorry to break it to you.
Also, they might enough people might jump in and kill enough to get it up to level 7.
Well, not now. We've told everybody how to uninstall Legacy.
Well, I do find it interesting why they even did this. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Do you think
but
it's a
interesting?
bug?
Yeah, it's a bug.
You think it's a bug?
Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to be in there. But
it's got its own text and it's got its own text and everything. Yeah, it's got new text as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it's got text, isn't it? I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's
a bit weird.
It is very weird.
Maybe it was supposed to be released on Saturday.
Well, put it this way. I mean, if it's got 5 years to run, then that means Legacy will last for at least 5 years.
I mean, yeah, that's a really good idea. That's definitely going to happen.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting why it's in there.
Yeah. Well, moving back to the live version of the game, the Thargoid War stands as thus. Currently, there are 40 systems which are reporting alerts, including the GE system again. There are 49 systems being invaded. 12 systems have been recaptured or saved. 25 systems are now in recovery. And the Thargoids now control 1,102 systems. Now, that's up 30 from last week, which is actually a lot less than there usually is, because it's normally about 50 to 60. So it's begun to slow. And I don't know whether or not this is the effect of people hitting the alert systems.
It might be the effect of all the legacy commanders doing stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, we know that they're completely separate galaxies, Ben, and the way that's going to happen, is it? But yeah, so, that's a bit of a shocker, really, the fact it's slowed down. Any thoughts on the progress of the Thargoid War at the moment?
Not going well.
Well, it's not going as badly as it was going, but it's still going badly. It's going to horrendous to.
The rate at which it's not going well is slowing down.
Yeah. Pretty much. Right. I think, well, I'm not even sure whether we should do a store alert, because to be honest...
We'll play the music.
Okay. For everybody's sake, it's that time of the week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
Wild. Right, incredible.
What?
We're live now. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we did. Oh, our mics didn't go back live for some strange reason.
Oh dear. Okay, well, the store alert this week. Apologies for the silence. We'll have to sort that out in the edit. There's nothing new for your ship at all. So I'm afraid to say there's nothing you can put on your nothing new to put on your ship or anything internal. However, there is new proper merch that you can buy from the store, which I think is new T-shirts and so on. But there is some issue.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. What issue could that be?
Isn't just the Triple Elite mug. There were the Triple Elite mug, which I really would quite like, is only available in the US.
Really?
Yeah. Important. This product is available in the US. If your shipping address is outside this region, please choose a different product.
Oh.
Just checking. Yep, the exploration rank mug, only available in the US. I'm going to check the combat rank mug, but I don't want to. Yep, only available in the US.
I feel snubbed.
The Alliance faction mug doesn't have that, but
do we know who Frontier are using as their merch provider?
Yeah, I like that. It's actually from £15, but only available in the US.
Yeah, and you can't get it in the UK.
Yeah,
the,
so
the 07 Commander. It says only available in the US. Federation and the 07 Commander. That's all available. But trading rank, not so much. Any of the rank ones, any of the Triple Elite one isn't. The Harmer Rum mug. Let's see. No, you can get that one.
Actually, this is the first time I've actually looked at this merch stuff.
Yeah, some of the mugs you can't get.
Yeah, I would be tempted to reach out to the community team to verify some of this, because this sounds bizarre.
Yeah, because you can get Federation faction hoodies, and actually looking at there's a lot of clothing.
Yeah,
I've never looked at it.
Clothing's only UK, is only America only.
I didn't realize
Some of the clothing, like on different stores that I've set up for different things, there are some of the clothing with those stores is only restricted to the US.
Yeah, but what about the Frontier one?
I don't know about the Frontier one. I haven't gone and checked every single one. But we had like Commander Homburger was in my chat earlier, saying they put everything into their basket, and then when they went to put in the address, they only realized then at that point that they couldn't get the exploration mug.
Well, here's a question: is like, you can get the mug, but you've got to pay an additional 20 or 30 quid shipping.
I don't make my own mug.
Or as you say, you can find and locate your own illicit mug.
I mean, there's a lot of shit that goes out on Etsy that they don't clamp down on.
Yeah, which
that's a different thing altogether. Yeah. That's completely different.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much there actually was up for merch wise.
There's so much stuff. Some of the stuff.
I know, especially the canvases and the posters.
Yeah, it's the quality of some of the t-shirts and hoodies is what I would love to check, because I've seen some that and the quality looks amazing, but then I've also seen other things and it's like, yeah, this is just a shitty Asda hoodie that you could pick up for £5 with a little bit of embroidery on it.
So I should imagine that you and I, Ben, have both received stuff from Frontier merch-wise, including a jacket. And,
yeah, the jacket is amazing quality.
It's incredible quality. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar. I don't think they're going to fuck about.
I don't think so either, but I'm just thinking. I do know that some things I've seen from other places.
It ain't going to be Shein, mate. It's all right.
Yeah, the quality has been pants, but other things, the quality's been great. So, and before I go and spend 60 quid on a top, I'd like to know what it's like. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm saying.
Well, I know some people who have ordered some stuff, and I'm sure they will report back when they get it.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, this is the kind of thing that's ideal for. Yeah, call me funny, but this kind of thing I like seeing in the flesh before I go and spend real money on.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't mind spending 10, 15 quid on something that I don't know, but spending a lot of money on it, then I want to know what I'm getting, basically.
Yeah, very much. Because it's it's been.
Yeah, I've been bitten in
That's the
past,
thing about
basically.
clothing. It's the thing about clothing. Why have we got a container?
Sorry, yeah, you just reminded me of hey, come and get this XXL top. And then you find out, yeah, sure, it might be XXL if you're Chinese, and it's actually, wouldn't count as a large in the UK. That's when you go and get like a top from Wish.com or something like that.
Oh, don't. I bought a jacket from Wish.com, which was supposed to be extra, extra large. And on the model, it looked kind of like a Sherlock jacket, so it went down to his knee. It arrived to me, and it only came down to my waist.
Yeah.
Yes. What you buy. There's wonderful memes out there of what you buy on Wish and what the model looks like and what we got.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And I'm not thinking that Frontier would do anything remotely like that, honestly. But still.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, well, moving on from there, our next thing is, I think we will take a break and come back with some more Ouroboros stuff.
Get ready. LAVE Radio.
Have you found yourself in a spot of bother with those Xenos messing up your backyard?
Oh, why are there Fargoids in my system?
Can't leave the house without fear of a hyperdiction?
Can't even get to work. Not that they've noticed, because everything's on fire there too.
Sick of the amount of time it takes to scrub the caustic damage from those hard-to-reach places?
Oh, fuck! Oh, it fucking hurts! Ow!
Introducing Dr. Pope's Caustic Burn Cream. Apply a few drops to the affected area and feel the euphoria of instant relief. After that, just wash the burn away.
It's like it was meant to happen.
It's so good, you can even use it on your ships.
Thanks, Dr. Pope. My ship smells brand new.
Dr. Pope's Caustic Burn Cream, the miracle that can happen. Side effects may include dizziness, constipation, an itching sensation, worship of an obviously aggressive false deity, death, and loss of sense of smell. Should you experience any of these symptoms, please contact your doctor immediately. Not Dr. Pope though, he's busy.
We all know what it's like. You're busy managing your settlement when suddenly the alarms go off.
Oh no, not again.
That's right. A commander with a Federation naval rank of Admiral, an Imperial King no less, has landed in a ship worth over 100 million credits and is killing all your staff, while they look around for a 10 credit adhesive to glue an upgraded scope to their 100,000 credit assault rifle. They fly away with their super glue and you're left with a problem. How are you going to get your agricultural plant back up and running?
How am I going to get my plant up and running?
How are you going to find staff at short notice?
How am I going to find staff at short notice?
How are you going to deal with all those bodies?
There's bodies everywhere, and they've stained the carpet.
Wonder no longer. Call Aries Crime Scene Cleanup Services.
Hello, I'm Harry, from Harry's Mine. After a sudden increase in robberies and murders by commanders since 3307, I've gained valuable expertise in cleaning up bodies, recruiting new staff and restocking stationary lockers. Now you can benefit from my experience by signing up to our Crime Scene Cleanup Service subscription plan.
That's right. For only a small monthly fee, when your settlement alarms are activated, our rapid response cleanup crew will be dispatched, along with our patented Cadaver Scoop 150. The Cadaver Scoop 150 can be mounted to surface reconnaissance vehicles and skimmers to make tidying up your settlement a breeze.
Wow, The bodies are gone.
Our recruitment team has potential new employees on standby across the galaxy, ready to fill your vacant roles in security, logistics, administration, processing, and more.
My plant's operational again. Thanks, Ares Crime Scenes Cleanup Services.
Ares Crime Scene Cleanup Services. We'll have your settlement as good as new before the next ship arrives. Cadaver Scoop 150 disposal bags sold separately.
There's bargains, bargains, bargains at Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium haven't just been slicing carcasses, but also slicing their prices. All unspecified meat sausages now 2 for the price of 1. A pack of assorted meat steaks, now with 50% more meat at half the price. How about chops? Our surprising meat chops now also 50% off. And introducing our massive meat hamper. It's a family of 4. No, that should say feeds a family of 4, right?
Stick to the script, Claire. It says it's a family of 4.
Okay, I'll stick to the script.
Yeah, you do that.
It's a family of 4. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. Find us in the Lave Business Directory or visit us next to the station mortuary. Etienne Dawn's Unspecified Meat Emporium. You'll wonder how our prices are so low.
Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
And welcome back. Hopefully we are back. Now we're going to carry on our discussion from last week, because Alec went through the archives and was finding a lot of fun comparing of what we were hoping for and what we actually got. And yeah, you'd done the whole 6 episodes, but we had so much to talk about. We only got through 3 of them. So do you want to take it away with episode 4?
Indeed, yeah. Let's plow on. It's been, yeah. I mean, I'm sort of still going. I mean, I will, as discussed on last week's show, I will stop. But I haven't heard any of these episodes, so it's an interesting. It's a good listen. So yeah, let's have a look. So in episode 4, this is particularly interesting because I was just double checking on the Lave Radio website. So this was almost exactly 10 years ago this week.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And what is interesting is I think either in the newsletter or something, Frontier had released some 3D model cutaways.
Yes, I remember those.
I haven't seen these, but I'm guessing they showed the internals of the ships. What struck me was on the show, the quote was, "In the fullness of time, you can actually walk around these ships, can't you?" And it just made me think. And so it begins 10 years ago this week. The discussion on ship interiors first kicked off, and we're still waiting.
Yeah, well, there was a discussion at the time. I think it was either David Braben confirmed it or Michael Brooks confirmed it, that all the ships were designed originally so you could walk around them at a later point. They'd actually worked out where the gangways would be and things like that. But obviously, for this version of the game, it wasn't going to be in.
To be honest, I mean, the game, we've coped pretty well for 10 years without being able to walk around our ships. So you can see why they decided to deprioritize it, I guess.
Okay, bring in Ben.
I wouldn't say it was just mentioning it, though. I mean, Frontier essentially did an entire video where basically everybody, including David Braben and Mike, were both saying, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is being able to walk around our spaceships.
Right.
And it was like, over half of the people on that video were like, yeah, I can't wait for this. And
yeah,
then it's just gone by the wayside, which...
Well, it kind of went by the wayside right from the very beginning, because the Anaconda was designed, as you all know, is that the Anaconda, when you actually hit one, you can see the battle damage and bits hanging off and things like.
Yeah,
that's the only one they managed to put in.
Because battle damage and changing the models and breaking all the models for all the ships is hard.
Catty is in. The Anaconda was designed. No, it was congealed.
Together. I thought Thargoids that congealed.
Yeah. The main reason that they didn't put that kind of damage modeling in was what?
You and Katie have just said, you know how the scouts and when you kill interceptors and things, they have battle damage like the inside of Thargoid, like the inside of the Anaconda. Whereas if you kill, say, a Cobra, it doesn't.
No, the Cobra still breaks up into bits.
Yeah, but you can't really see the insides of it that much, can you?
Oh no, that's true.
Is that true? If you destroy an Anaconda, is there much more to see?
Oh god, yeah. Not just if you destroy, but if you beat up an Anaconda, you get your Anaconda to 90% hull.
Yeah.
Then it's not just fizzing and smoking. It's got bits broken off. It looks like it's been really beaten up.
I need to go into I need to do some pirate hunting and go and pay more attention to that.
And I'm just thinking I wonder if Thargoids, the fact that they have that, I wonder if that means that they've had that kind of thing thought about.
Yeah. I mean, we know that the Anaconda has actually been designed with that in mind because one of the Kickstarter awards was a Anaconda model with a cutaway, so you could actually see the insides of an Anaconda. Now, there was a lot of controversy about whether or not that was actually delivered. I can't remember whether or not.
I don't believe it was.
Yeah.
And then I think people might have moaned, and I think some people may or may not have received 3D models of an Anaconda or something like that, basically.
I remember Stephen...
A 3D printed Anaconda.
I remember Stephen Usher, he got a 3D printed, custom-made Cobra
He got his
Mark
Cobra.
III.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a different thing.
Oh, Paul Archer's saying they shipped them in the end.
Okay, they did eventually get there.
So, yeah. The main reason was development time. Because... when they worked out how much work it was to put the Anaconda in, God knows how long it would have taken to get the rest of the ships.
Yeah, they just couldn't scale it up.
Psychic, where do you stand on ship interiors?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I zoned out as soon as you started talking about ship interiors. I can't apologize enough. It feels like a really tired argument at this point, and I have been messaging, and I've got an update for you in a minute, in a little while about something. But I'm not fussed. I'm still not fussed about ship interiors. I've never been that fussed about ship interiors. I love being able to walk around concourses and things like that, but it just feels like set dressing. I want something to be able to do. If there is if there is like a over above and beyond from realism or like a machinima way to make ship interiors a thing, like if there is a process that is expedited through you using something within your ship interiors, then I'm all for it. But that is a huge overhaul that would have to go into the game, because it would have to go on every single ship that exists.
Indeed. I mean, I've always said that ship interiors, actually, I think looking at it from the point of view of your own ship is the wrong way to go about it. But if you think about it from the point of view of derelicts, that would be bloody brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's a cracking idea. Not too worried about moving around in my ship, because it is one of those things where you'd be like, my personal experience is we talked about this today, but we have limited times when we can play Elite Dangerous. You'll enjoy the novelty for a couple of times, and then unless it's something that will expedite a process for you or make life easier for you, you'll stop doing it and do the thing that you can do from your seat.
Basically.
Let's move on to this one. I didn't want to dig up this topic too much. I just thought it was interesting. It was literally 10 years ago when the Lave Radio crew first assumed that we would get ship interiors. There's a thing later on, a couple of minutes later in episode 4, that I just wanted to ask Colin about, because he might know. There was a lot of talk about an Imperial cruiser.
Yeah,
and how
that
the
was
concept of it was about 10 to 15 times the size of an Anaconda. Is that what became the capital ship?
Yeah, that is effectively the capital ship as the Imperial Interdictor. And it's a massive, beautiful ship, and it is about 15 times longer.
It is indeed. What I thought was cool, and it comes up a few times in the next couple of episodes of Lave Radio, actually, is the absolute assumption that we would be able to dock at capital ships to pick up things like military missions, which I guess
it seemed a logical. Speculation, to be honest, because there was a lot of places where you could pick up military missions in the previous games. So they were thinking, well, wouldn't it make sense that if you can dock with these capital ships, that's where you get your
I guess there's a bit of a design compromise, certainly on the Imperial ship, which is such a beautiful, elegant design. But if you imagine the fleet carrier landing pads, which are really incredibly ugly, you couldn't slap anything like that on that Imperial capital ship; it would ruin it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Unless you just had a couple of pads in between the turrets, but it's it is what it is now. To tell you the truth, I prefer. You can still dock with capital ships. There's the fleet carriers and the Wells class megaship. You can still dock with those, but it looked like that one didn't come to fruition. Where you got the military missions, Ben.
If you look though at the Imperial ship at the back of it, I believe, and if you fly down the middle of the Federal ship, there are obvious things that is a landing bay that you could land in, and then a bit like say I was in Babylon 5, it's like a single pad you could land in and then get whipped along to somewhere else.
Can you imagine the salt over a single pad?
It wouldn't be handled like what we have now. It would be these multi-story bike park things where there's one rack. You park your bike on it, beep it in, and then it gets sent down by a machine and parked for you. But it's one hole in the ground, but there's enough room for 20 bikes underneath it. And I think that might have been where they were originally going with the idea for landing pads. And obviously now it's just one pad, one thing, and it's. But it can't. Realistically, though, it can't be. That's the weird thing, because stations are meant to have hundreds of things on them, of ships on them. But we can only have 3 on a single in Hutton Orbital. But realistically, we should be. If it were done like a real thing, it would be you land there and then there's a whole lot of places you could get parked. But that's not what that's not how the game's worked out.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think there was a need for it, and like the military missions, that there was speculation that you might pick up at those things. We sort of get those at the station, don't they? I mean, those have sort of become the rank progression missions, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, would it be nice if you could only get that kind of thing in certain places?
Yeah, there is the military mission. You have to complete a military mission to go up a rank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that they meet. So I can see how that would work.
It'd be quite fun if you had to go off and land on a military capital ship to pick one up, but it's kind of not necessary, is it? It's a lot of work you can just slap it in the mission board and nobody really cares that much. I think it's interesting going through some of this stuff to sort of recognise the compromises and just go, do you know what? It's a fair compromise, really. A lot of work for not much extra gameplay, really. The final thing on this episode 4 was it was interesting because there was quite a lot of talk on crime and punishment, which I thought might have been kind of ripe for a lot of discussion, but actually it's largely what we've got. I know they've sort of thrown it around a bit, but there's the idea of different levels of crime, so fines and then all the way up to bounties and basically detection of crime by being scanned and punishment of crime by fines or death or bounties. It's the one thing I might as well touch on it now, although we do come on it later. Actually, no, I'll save it for later. There's one interesting thing on punishment of crime, which was quite a surprise. On to episode 5, and again. David Braben saying you can dock with capital ships. And a little bit more on getting access to military news, military drives, military ships, military missions. I guess. Don't know if anyone's got anything on that, but this military stuff all sort of went by the by, I think.
Yeah, can you actually still get missions on megaships, or is it just a case of?
Depends on the megaship, because you can get rescue missions from the rescue megaships.
Yeah, no, you can get Thargoid missions and things like that from the Thargoid ones, but as far as the actual Wells class megaships, I can't remember whether or not they had a mission board on that. But because it's been so long since I last docked with one.
Yeah, me too. I'm guessing you can. The mechanism is clearly there, as like it says with the medical ships, but maybe they're saving that for special.
Yeah, special occasions.
Yeah. Half an hour into episode 5, the talking about merch, as we did earlier, there was the concept of the elite branded leather driving gloves as a reference to the age of the average elite player.
That's such an elite player thing to say.
Still waiting for those.
Hey, come on! When you've got elite branded socks, you know that there's damn a lot of player dads playing this game.
The next one,
I love my right on commander socks.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
I thought the next one was interesting and something we could go around and see how people feel. The idea of achievements, which I think Michael Brooks said a fairly early yes to, and it feels to me like that's a thing that only ended up on console. How do we feel about achievements?
Are achievements not on Steam? No.
No.
Oh.
No, we've got to have no achievements whatsoever.
People like their achievements, or does that sort of somehow devalue elite a little bit?
Not at all. I love achievements.
Cool.
Love
Excuse me while I
achievements,
masturbate
love-
into my sad sock.
Jesus fucking Christ! Wow. Wow, I'd normally say I think we found our episode title, but I think that might be a little bit too far for even us. I think I would love to have achievements in Elite. I think it would be hilarious, especially if they just implemented them now, and then all of us log in and we're like, achievements all across the board. It'd be amazing.
I like them. I mean, I think you can do them. You can have sort of silly achievements, which might not be a good fit quite in game. You know, I don't know, like
I don't know. You do something silly and
fall 1,000 feet and die or something stupid. But I like the idea. I think I touched on it in another way, but you know, of visiting all the INRA bases and visiting Sagittarius A, and there are some real milestones that would be nice to tick off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's also a whole load of little nods to science fiction that you could put in. Like, so for instance, the first time you zoom out on the galaxy map and you see you are an insignificant dot on an insignificant dot, and that would be the total perspective vortex achievement. So, yes.
There's loads and loads of like little options and nods to other things that we could put in, and all of like visit Earth for the first time and things like that would be awesome. I know Inara has some, EDSM has some as well, but it would be really cool to have ones that Frontier have given out.
One of the things I was reflecting on with Elite is it's a game that, you know, we all still love to play, but one of the things that I struggle with, you know, with so many hours in the game is purpose. You know, what shall I do?
Do next? Yeah.
Point. Yeah. Once you
Please don't tell me you're going to suggest achievements as a reason to play the game.
Well, achievements isn't a bad way of
sometimes it is
looking at this list and going, "Oh, I've never done that. I'll do that this week." You know, just having a purpose, having a goal becomes more and more important as you've done everything. You know. And it can be fairly arbitrary. It's just like, what am I going to do? And then you think, oh, I haven't done. You know, I'm sure a lot of us have. I have a to-do list on my iPad. It's basically a list of bullet marks of things I've seen on, you know, the Burpit stream. It's places to go. It's things to do. They're more or less achievements. It's just like, I don't know what to do today. What's on my list?
Yeah, but that's something you set yourself, whereas so many achievements are kill 1,000 Thargoids or kill
Yeah.
500 widgets, and
Yeah, those are less.
it's just like, oh, and that's just it's terrible content.
Necessarily, not if if say you start killing Thargoids and
They
you're like,
can be done good.
yeah, but start with maybe I've never killed a Thargoid before. Oh, I'm a completionist, and there are games that I have played solely to grind out to try and get better, to get a certain achievement, and then get so many stars on Train Rally, or just games that I pick up and I'm like, oh, I've not got to that achievement yet. I'm gonna try and do it. There's no harm in. I'm not gonna tell you that that's not the right way to play it, not the best way to play a game if there's another indicator of things that you can do. Do you know what I mean?
I will say you do you, and I'm very happy for you. And I'll just go and do something else while you
one's
you enjoy
asking
that.
you to do it. No one's like, hey,
it's
like,
just the
you don't need to, you absolutely don't need to patronize me when you say shit like that. It's like you don't.
I get my experience with achievements has been basically World of Warcraft related things, and
But basically, it's your OCD. It's your OCD
it's my
kicking
OCD,
in.
and I caught myself. I am having to kill 1,000 Murlocs. And I was like, why am I doing this? Stop! No!
I did the fishing
more like a you problem.
to get that.
Oh, it completely and utterly is a me problem. And I can accept that people can enjoy achievements, and I can also accept that when they're done right, they can steer you in a direction of doing something that you have never thought about doing before.
Yeah,
but I've seen too many cases of them being lazy and lazy content.
Oh yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. Is that there's no need to put in an achievement for killing 20,000 or scanning 20,000 plants or something daft like that, because you're probably going to do that anyway. But it's
when you're in 1900, it's like, no, one more.
Okay, we got one last one for episode 5, which is quite an interesting one, and it's the idea of being stranded. I guess these days we'd think of it as running out of fuel, but I suppose it's damage as well. And then being able to put out a distress signal. It also tied into the idea once again of manual ejection of an escape pod, which we sort of lost. But the option of being able to put out a distress signal either to the all-player group or just to NPCs. We'll come back to this, but early on in the development, there was this very clear sort of idea of an all-player group and then everything else, which has become sort of, in later years, it's become open mode or private or solo. But we'll come on to that in another episode, perhaps. But what do you think of this idea of being stranded and putting out distress signals? I know
it's the fuel rats.
Well, it is. That's what it's become as a player run thing, which has been absolutely bloody brilliant.
Yeah, the thing about this one is that we were hoping for in-game mechanics where people could do this. However, those never arrived. But once you could start refueling, the fuel limpets came along. Then you could start rescuing other ships and other commanders. And I think that came out in update 1.3, where you saw all of a sudden those limpets could be used, and a new signal source of refueling or rescuing stranded ships came along.
Yeah.
But as far as a player saying, "Help! I'm low on fuel. Can someone call me? Can someone help me?" There was no game mechanics in there to sort it, and the fuel rats were created and they stepped up.
See, I think actually it's a subtle difference, but can you imagine if you could literally broadcast a message to every player of the game? Little thing pops up in every single player's inbox going,
"Oh no,
help, I'm sitting here with all my exploration data, please help." They'd get absolutely massacred.
Yeah.
Whereas having an external player run We Are the Fuel Rats, and they've got a good reputation, and just you don't get, nobody ever fears putting a call to the Fuel Rats and a Fuel Rat coming along and killing them. They don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, if you did send an SOS call, especially in a certain security level system, then, you're probably just saying, come and destroy my ship.
Yeah. So I think that worked out well. I mean, Frontier couldn't really have known that the Fuel Rats would come along, but
no, that was certainly emerging
by not
gameplay at its best.
and if they had implemented it, the Fuel Rats would have never have happened, I think.
I suppose. Yeah.
It would never have been as good. Well, it might have, but
right. Well, we're gonna draw a line under this for the moment, unless anybody's got no. And we'll come back with episode 6 at a later point, episode 6 and beyond. And you will just quickly touch on what's been happening in the community. So there is a new video. Elite Dangerous Edge of the World. The pro in Protocops stands for prolific, clearly, but this is another glorious video.
So good, man. It's like no one else is doing shit like this in Elite, and it's so good. It's so refreshing. I've got all the time in the world for this lad. What a ledge.
I like the fact, Psychic, and I don't know whether it was a direct thing or an indirect thing I think you commented about, or somebody commented about the flashing lights issue, and I like that he'd got an explicit warning on the front of this one.
Yeah, it is. Some of the techniques that he uses are because of the very heavy relying on sort of like glow transitions and things like that. It does give the impression of flashing lights. The warning is excellent.
Yeah.
And he's just so good. He's so good.
Is he the one that did the
golden hour?
Oh right, not the one with the Spice Girls cover.
Yep, same guy.
Golden
Hour,
Thought
Spice
so.
Girls, that one.
Right.
And this one of the most recent.
You know what we haven't covered?
This is just like a little one that he throws away. He's like in the things he's like, this is something that I'm just putting out as like an interim thing while I'm working on my bigger edits. This is incredible as well. So good.
Yeah, what we haven't covered is the James Bond spoof. I'm blanking on the name at the moment. Dangus Finger.
We haven't covered that. That's true.
It was really good. It was really good. We should have covered it. We'll put it next week, maybe.
Yeah, we'll review it next time. We're going to start reviewing people's Elite Dangerous videos, I think.
There are some exceptional ones coming out at the moment, though, that are worthy of comment, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, there's a next one, isn't there? There's a new advert, isn't there, Psychic?
There is, yeah. I don't have another one in the bag as well, and I'm busy tomorrow, so there is. It's likely going to be a couple of weeks until we get we get our asses into gear and do some more visuals for them. But this is the last one in the series of what Claire has already done, and this is Crazy Mix, and it might be my favourite. I just love the snake strapped to a rocket. It's so good. It looks so cool. And like within minutes after Chris had sent me the audio that he'd edited all together for it, I was already storyboarding it. It might be my favorite. I'm biased, but it's just silly. It's just fucking silly, and sometimes we need silly because the world is shit.
Yes, we do need silly. Well,
and
that's good to hear. On the subject of having a bit of a time, I tried to join in with this, but I wasn't able to connect. But Ghost Giraffe was doing a CQC event over the weekend. It was great to watch on YouTube. I tried to join in, but for some reason, the instancing was against me. Probably, and also the Atlantic, because he's in America and I'm here. So, yeah, at least they had a good time. And it was quite amusing. Right, let's move on. Has anybody got any other business?
Yes.
Go on then, Psychic.
Yes, I do. As I was zoning out when you were talking about both anacondas and ship interiors, I did a quick message to our lovely CM Sally, who said that she was not aware of this and she's going to speak to the store team and give us an update at some point, find out what's going on.
Excellent.
Thank you, Sally. We love you.
Yeah. So there
she
you
ain't
go.
listening.
No, but you can tell her or something.
Nah,
we still love her.
I just tell her that I love her. It's no problem.
Sally knows everybody loves her. Or at least I hope she does.
Yes. Well, okay. Moving on from there, I think it's time to do the shout-outs because I've just seen what the time is. So, first of all, let's just say hello to our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio. It broadcasts on a Tuesday at 8:30.
They smell.
I know they smell, but if you don't mention them, they get a little annoyed. They never mention us. So, but you can find them at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want to go to the audio, go for radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that does like a bit of CQC action, you can check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. Fingers crossed for update 15, guys. We'll also give some shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts and content creators that you can find. We've obviously got the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well. There's the Loose Screws Hillbilly Cheese Eaters over there on the other side of the States. And we'll just give a shout out to Commander Scorbius of the broadcast, who's still running on a Sunday night at about 8 p.m. And we'll include his link to the Twitch chat in his Twitch channel in the show notes. Also following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd just like to thank everyone who's chipped in at the Twitch chat. And also, how many in-game commanders have you got helping you hunt Orthruses?
I'm flying with William Solo, and he's actually just seen another one as I headed back so I could do the show notes. So yeah, we both saw one and didn't manage to kill it, but did sort of knew it had been kissed, and he just saw another one, but it ran away before he could sort of turn around and say hi to it. So 2 in 2 hours.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right, so special thanks also goes to Commander Tokoso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music for this show. But that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, then you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio, tweet us at Lave Radio at spacey.space and Mastodon, or you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/Lave Radio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, but as you said, we'll share that with the truckers, so hold your nose, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now, do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to Commander Alec Turner.
Thank you, Colin.
Thanks to Ben Moss Woodward.
Good night, Zach.
Okay. Good night, Psychic.
Thanks, Colin. People listen to this all the time, so you don't need to say goodnight, because that times us, and it's going to be weird when people listen to this in the morning and they're like, oh god, no, why are you saying goodnight? Thanks, guys.
It's always night somewhere.
Oh, we could always say good morning, Psychic.
Or we could just leave it. It's all good.
Okay.
Have a good one, guys.
And anyway, special thanks goes to our tech specialist who jumped in at the last moment. That's Commander Ventura.
No problem, Colin. Thanks a lot.
Excellent. So until next time, commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted into them. You need a safe word.
Space can be lonely.
I'm going to see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 28th of March 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Thargoids are still winning the invasion, although they have slowed down just a little. And Shadow President Winters sets out her stall for the forthcoming federal election.
Humanity may not yet be winning the war against the Thargoids, but at least the Thargoids are expanding their sphere of influence slightly more slowly, according to data released by the Defense Council of Humanity. The number of systems controlled by Thargoids has been increasing by around 70 per week, but for the past 2 weeks the Thargoids have been taking less interest in uninhabited systems, and it may be this that's led to the slowdown. While the number of systems cleared of Thargoids has increased from an average of 10 per week up to 20, there are still more systems falling under Thargoid invasion and control than can be cleared. Aegis has asked commanders to concentrate on alert systems to try and head the Thargoids off from attacking in the first place. Orthrus and other Thargoids can be hard to find in these systems, but any sort of combat or disruption to the Thargoids' logistics is believed to be of help. There are unconfirmed rumours that collecting tissue samples from Thargoids in alert systems and returning them to one of the rescue ships may have a disproportionate impact on the Thargoids' invasion preparations, but this needs further work to verify. Aegis's caustic sink launchers, which are primarily intended to aid survival in the Maelstrom clouds, have proved invaluable in combat too. Where once caustic missiles and clouds could cause significant damage to ships fighting the Thargoids, caustic sinks now take care of the problem, with the pilot simply having to remember to eject the full sinks to retain a completely healthy hull. With Xiaojin I returned to the Aegis megaship Oren Miller and Leuten Star by the kind if misguided actions of the Thargod cult, Professor Tesro is believed to be working with Xiao to understand what the Thargoids are likely to do next and how best to approach the conflict. It seems likely that combat will continue to play a big part in our response to the Thargoids, but Aegis remains hopeful that we may be able to identify what's motivating the invasion. Meanwhile, Xiao strongly believes that her former Azimuth torturer Salvation remains alive as a disembodied consciousness in a computer built from Guardian technology. Could it be possible that the Thargoids are invading to try to eliminate this new manifestation of their ancient Guardian enemy, as well as the man partly responsible for 2 genocidal attacks on the Thargoids? Perhaps, if Salvation and Azimuth Biotech can be eliminated, the Thargoid invasion will end. Would that be a price worth paying for peace?
The federal election will be between independent Zach Rackham, the Liberal Party's Felicia Winters, and either Jerome Archer or Lana Berkovich for the ruling Republican Party. The Republicans are in the middle of their caucus race, which is a bit like a CQC battle, only nastier and with political promises instead of weapons. Grand Attorney Edwin Espinoza and Congressman Thandika Kwabe have already been eliminated from the contest, so the Republican candidate will be either Vice President Archer or Secretary of State Lana Berkovich, both former Hudson loyalists and both fervent supporters of the Proactive Detection Bureau and tighter controls on federal citizens. It's the draconian restrictions on civil rights that have been the Republicans' least popular policy, and it's no surprise that the Liberal Party candidate, Felicia Winters, has vowed to shut down the PDB on her first day in office. She plans to go back to what she describes as the core values of the Federation, taking away state control, dismantling the spy network, and giving every citizen the opportunity to achieve success. But Winters won't be afraid to spend big on the military in the campaign against the Thargoids. In fact, she says she will increase military engagement by providing a protective defence umbrella around neighbouring independent systems, both protecting those systems and giving the Federation a defensible line to hold back the invasion. The Federal Free Press warmly welcomed the Liberal Party manifesto, while the Republican-leaning Sol Today was predictably dismissive, under its headline, "Vice President Winters ate my hamster." The other candidate is populist, ex-pirate and corporate mogul, Calico Zach Rackham, who with his Just Like Me campaign offers everyone in the Federation the promise of being just as successful as he has been. He has been concentrating on celebrity endorsements rather than attempting to balance the books, and there remains extreme scepticism around whether the Federation could withstand 8 years of Rackham attempting to deliver on impossible promises. The election comes at the end of Zachary Hudson's 8-year term, which began after the disappearance of President Jasmina Halsey in 3301. It is strongly suspected that Hudson worked hard to undermine Halsey's authority when she was president, using the increasing availability of Onion Head as a means of triggering discontent. What is certainly true is that Hudson's close ally, Admiral Vincent, was later convicted for his part in the attempted assassination of Halsey, which led directly to Hudson's appointment as her replacement. Both Vincent and Jupiter Rochester, his co-conspirator, remain under solitary confinement amid rumours that they might possess information that would condemn Hudson.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.
Hey Commanders, this is Mick from Crazy Mick's Reptile Emporium and Warehouse. Due to a hysterical ordering mishap and not reading the fine print, I'm currently in possession of over 10,000 snakes, many of which are deadly, so everything must go. We have anacondas, asps, cobras, diamondbacks, floatlants, keelback, kraits, mambas, pythons, sidewinders and vipers, none of which are capable of spaceflight without being strapped to a rocket. Need a pet for your cockpit? Buy a snake. Need to scare your mother-in-law and give her a heart attack for the insurance money? Buy a snake. Need to fill a beluga full of snakes to assassinate a witness on their way to a Federation courthouse? Buy many snakes. Bulk discounts are available at Crazy Mick's Reptile Emporium and Warehouse. You can find us in the Lave Business Directory or visit us at the former site of Sensible Michael's Shipyard and Outfitting Warehouse. Will somebody get these mother snakes out of my mother warehouse?
About to listen to is the complete theme song for Crash Landing, the official Elite community stream. This piece was composed by Alan Stroud, and if you'd like to hear more of his work, you can search for his name on the Google Play Store. Enjoy the track, and until next time, see you in the void, Commanders.